We bought this, all of this, together with you, our Mossy Earth members, so that we can restore the degraded areas and also protect the wonderfully diverse forest that is left. And we've done so with Fredy, a Quechua man, born and bred in the Amazon rainforest, who asked us to buy this land to protect it and all the wonderful species that live here. And this place, it's incredible.
What a beautiful, busy little red monkey. It's just amazing to see, and right here in the land that we are now protecting. As you can imagine, we have a lot to show you because we're spending 2 months here exploring the land and making all sorts of plans for the future. And in this video today, I want to introduce you to this place, to this new project. I want to introduce you to this new video series and also tell you what our purpose is here in this strange place so far from home.
But first, let's get some perspective, because the Amazon rainforest is the ultimate temple of biodiversity. It is one of the last places that can truly boast of an uncontrollable and untamable explosion of life in all its wonderful shapes and forms. This place is fueled by bright equatorial sunlight and abundant cloudbursts of rain all year round, which means that growth here is non-stop. It's always spring or summer in the jungle. The greens are always the greenest greens you've seen. All the insects are booming all of the time. The birds are always busy with their nests. The frogs are always croaking at night. And the monkeys always seem to have a little baby on their back. Half of the rainfall here is generated by the evaporation from the forest itself. It is an ecosystem that creates its own climate, a rainforest that creates its own rain. And if it's properly sunny and bright, in all likelihood they'll be hammering it down later. It is a chaotic place where everything competes with everything else for light, for water, and for nutrients. Every morsel of energy is recycled. There is an animal specialized in every niche, and over millions of years, all of this wonderful frenzy of life has found a balance.
But we're not really here to do another nature documentary about the Amazon rainforest. We do nature restoration. We do rewilding. And as you can see all around me, there is plenty of potential here for more restoration.
We're buying this land in a degraded state. 8 hectares were logged for cow pasture and 15 for monoculture cacao plantations. There were gold miners trying to buy this land for its many creeks, and balsa wood harvesters that wanted to grow and log balsa wood here. And the nearest oil pipe, it's just down the road.
I think that rainforest conservation can be quite the bourgeois pursuit, where we have people who are comfortable, who are well off, telling people who are desperately poor that they need to fix this super complex mess. And those people that transformed the primary forest that would have stood proud here, full of life, full of biodiversity, that, transformed that into this horrible mess, I think that they're not at fault.
And this is why we as Mossy Earth have never worked in the Amazon. It simply never made sense for us, because we never found a reasonable way in, an idea that was grassroots enough, and one that seemed sustainable in the long run. But all of that changed when Fredy came into the picture.
I am Fredy Gualinga. I grew up in the jungle. I was born in the jungle. I grew up here, and I got some opportunity to go to the city to learn Spanish, because my first language is Quechua, and grew up hunting, fishing. When I was a child, I used to say, I don't want to live in the jungle anymore, because I grew up with my mom farming, harvesting corn. It was a lot of work, like I imagine this in a dry season. I said I want to work in the office, like in the banks. I want to be a director and just sitting in the office. But when I grew up, I changed. My mind, my idea changed, because the best way to live is the nature. Living in the nature is the best.
One thing that Ecuador has done really well is to recognize that indigenous people that live in the Amazon are entitled to their forests, they're entitled to own the lands, and this gave Fredy an opportunity.
I was biking, I was walking, canoeing. Later I made a few friends around, and I knew so there were a lot of potential to save this forest and do something. Always in my mind was to do tourism.
And he got to work. His project, Mandaripanga, gives a whole community some extra income through tourism, and that is a good additional reason to consider taking care of their 7,000 hectares of rainforest. It's conservation through economic alignment and not self-righteous preaching. And it is with this in mind that Fredy reached out to Adriana, one of our biologists who had visited Mandaripanga the year before while on holiday. He wanted us to buy and protect this land when it came up for sale. So when the time came, we jumped into action. Adriana worked with Silvana, a lawyer from Quito, to create an Ecuadorian organization. We paid a topographer to map the borders of the land together with Fredy. And when all the papers were done, we beat the competition and bought the land for $185,000 US.
Okay, so there we go. These are the documents, the land documents that are coming back to Europe with us.
Between Fredy, Silvana, and some additional due diligence, the risk was low and well managed, but it was still a pretty stressful process, of course, and I really have to take my hat off to our biologist Adriana, who managed to get this from idea stage to done deal in a little over 3 months. It's really incredible work.
As you know, here at Mossy Earth, we often focus on places and species that aren't as obviously exciting as the mighty Amazon rainforest. And I love that about our work. I love that we work with a snail in a deserted island in the middle of the Atlantic. I love that we work with an abandoned quarry. But I have to admit it as well. This here has been on another level. I just wanted to make the point that this forest protecting this land is already a really great achievement for our little online rewilding community. I mean, we're like a small village of a few thousand people having a really big oversized impact for the number of people that are actually doing these projects. And I would like to remind you that the only way we can do all this is because of our Mossy Earth members, and you can become a member at mossy.earth.
Our projects can range from reflooding floodplain forests to create wetlands, all the way to creating coral reefs or even reintroducing important keystone species such as oysters, susliks, or even ocelots. The key thing is trying to bring back nature as efficiently as possible across a wide range of ecosystems. Now, it's about time that we get you located, and for that, I want to bring out a proper map. This is the Amazon rainforest, and our land is here, in the corner, close to the Andes, in the headwaters of the Amazon basin. This region is the most biodiverse place on land because this is where the special conditions of the Andes, the equator, and the Amazon rainforest come together. And the reason we know this is because researchers mapped the species richness of amphibians, birds, mammals, and plants, and found that there were only a few places where diversity was at its peak for all 4 of these groups at the same time. Those are the areas that you can see in red here. And as you can see in this map, that is the Yasuní area, as well as some bits of Peru. So this is clearly a really important place. I mean, it's the most biodiverse place on land, which is why in 1979, the Yasuní National Park was created, providing some form of official protection for more than 1 million hectares. Then, a decade later, in 1989, the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve was created, covering 2.7 million hectares and including the Waorani Ethnic Reserve. The Waorani are one of the indigenous groups of this region of the Amazon, together with many others, such as the Quechua communities, the Sapara in the south, and some of the world's last voluntarily isolated indigenous groups. With this in mind, a no-go zone was declared down here in 1999, with the intention of stopping the expansion of extractive industries. However, as is often the case, much of this has been disrespected. 2 oil roads have carved their way through the national park. The Maxis Road goes from up here all the way into the buffer zone of the no-go area, which breaks with the original purpose of said buffer zone. It damages the rainforest, but above all, it endangers the few people that still live there. And then there is the Auca Road. Auca is actually a pejorative for Waorani, meaning naked man, so the name of the road should tell you all you need to know. This road is even worse than the Maxus because since it was built in the 1980s, it has led to uncontrolled settlement that year by year is eating into the primary forest around the national park and transforming it into cattle pasture, oil infrastructure, and monoculture plantations. And our land is here, at the end of a smaller road which branches off from the oil road to meet the current border of the national park. We are far enough from the nearest oil pipe to have some hope that maybe it won't reach us, and just in the right place where cow pastures and cacao plantations meet the pristine rainforest that is left. So it seems to us that this is exactly the right place to try to make a difference. I traveled to the Amazon with Adriana and Tiago, two of our biologists, with Ollie from Ropey Science, who is a rope access genius who likes to climb tall trees and get himself into all sorts of trouble, and with Julia, my girlfriend turned full-time filmmaker for this occasion. And on the way, we met with Fredy and went to the land together by boat.
Stepping on the land with the right foot. For good luck.
Oh, this is crazy.
Jenna, how does it feel?
I have no words. It's insane. Yeah.
And here we are. Now it's time to get to work.
Well, a lot of the initial work was already done by Fredy. He restored one of the houses so that we could use it as a base, and I must say it felt wonderful to have a solid roof over our heads with the heavy Amazonian thunderstorm that welcomed us to the rainforest.
So the first step to properly understand what's going on in our piece of land is to try and map it with the drone, which is why Tiago over here is getting ready to send the drone on a mission to at least get a sort of an initial survey of the land to see if it matches with the maps that we have. Just jungle that keeps on going.
It's crazy.
Going and going.
This is a clearing, is that the one you were saying?
Yeah. No, it's not that.
Okay.
It's a little further down the river.
As usual, it was immediately interesting to look at things from higher up. It's just a better perspective from up there. But the key bit of work was to take more than 1,000 photos to create this super detailed map of the land. Then, using the Pix4D software, it was easy to figure out the land cover of each area, and we found out that about 86.1% of the property is mature rainforest, 7.7% are the cacao plantations and clear-cuts in early stages of succession, 4.1% is the grass or the degraded cow pasture, and 2.1% corresponds to the roads and the various houses. We then printed out this map and sat down together with Fredy and crucially also our neighbor Jaime that has lived here for more than 2 decades, and this was really useful to complete the picture.
Antes era montaña, vi.
Cuando hizo la casa,
Cuando la casa tenía trabajito allá nomás.
solo poquito.
En partes tenía así trabajado, así como 1 hectárea, así. Cacao.
So,
Sí.
alrededor de,
Sí.
de la casa,
Sí,
cerca del río.
Sí.
sí, tenía allá, el cacao tenía. De ahí después ya metió los trabajadores, tumbaron por acá.
Para hacer
Sí,
potrero ya.
potrero, así.
Okay.
Based on the historic use of the land, we have identified 17 distinct areas, and this will be really useful to monitor the stages of succession and to better understand how the forest recovers. We've added all the maps and relevant information to a report that all of you who are Mossy Earth members can download in your account. I'll also use this map in the coming videos as we explore the area in more depth and as we uncover the wildlife that lives here, including a species of mammal that we believe has never been filmed before, which is pretty exciting. But there's potential to do a lot more than simply buying up bits of the Amazon. We view our project area as the whole forest. We want to try to find a multiplier for our impact, which is why we are working with Fredy to get some more economic activity to the area. We have a few ideas brewing, but the current thinking is that the land and the houses here should be used by volunteers to bring some value to the local community, that they could serve as a base for researchers and students to document and show why the rainforest is worth protecting, and crucially, to use the land for a small-scale tourism venture that can bring some initial money to the area as we continue to find ways to bring economic value to this forest and protect what is left of this amazing ecosystem. And the perfect example of this is our neighbor Jaime. We hired him as a guide to show us around every nook and cranny of this place, and he was really dedicated and hardworking, and I think he actually had fun running around the forest with some gringos who got excited about every creature that they saw and did silly things like climbing super tall trees and putting cameras in the canopy. We will hopefully be able to work with him and others like him for years to come, so that something sustainable and long-term can be set up here.
So as usual, a huge thank you to you, to our Mossy Earth members. You're truly the only thing that makes this project and all our other projects possible. And if you're not yet a member, but you would like to support our work, then please consider becoming one at mossy.earth. Again, that is mossy.earth. The link in the description or in a pinned comment down below. And if this is a really big step for you right now to support our projects financially, then please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Every bit helps. It really advances our projects meaningfully as well. And it's absolutely free. And I know that only about 30% of you watching these videos are actually subscribed. So it would be a huge step if all of you actually decided to subscribe. But yeah, this is the jungle. This is our new project, and I'm super excited to show you all the animals that live here, to show you the canopy, and to tell you what our plans are here. Until next time. Cheers!